Why the new tax bill may drive retailers to hire less and automate more. Retailers have been steadily investing in technology from warehouses to save on cost, space, and time. The effective cost of machinery that can replace human workers will drop. Savings from laying off workers will rise. The cashier may be automated faster thanks to the tax bill. Under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which Donald Trump signed into law on Friday, the effective cost of buying new equipment will drop, and savings from reducing payroll costs could jump by at least 20%. In other words, buying labor replacing machinery may be cheaper, and firing employees may save more money. Up to 7.5 million retail industry jobs are vulnerable to automation within 10 years, the Cornerstone Capital Group wrote in May. Retailers have free technology to automate anything from warehouses to checkout in hopes of saving money, space, and time. Amazon has been perfecting its Amazon Go stores as stores without checkout lines or cashiers, and Walmart is testing similar technology through its startup incubator, store number 8, according to Recode. The investments required for automation, though, can be steep, and the returns are not always offset by short-term labor savings. The math could change under the new tax law. Under the law, companies will now be able to write off the cost of new equipment immediately rather than over an extended time, thereby lowering their short-term taxes because money is worth more now than in the future. The time value of money, they will save more in the long run from deductions than they would have previously. With this provision set to begin to phase out in 5 years, retailers looking to automate are under the gun. If prices of equipment don't change, you might see companies accelerate plans to buy equipment they were already thinking about buying, said Corey Goodman, a partner in tax department of law firm Cleary, Gottlieb, Stein in Hamilton. If a company is planning on investing in equipment, the tax savings will be greater, doing it sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, as the corporate tax rate drops from 35% to 21%, companies can keep a greater share of their income. That also means they can pocket more savings achieved through cost cutting, like laying off workers. Broken down, if a retailer saves $100 in wages and benefits by laying off an employee in 2017, its after-tax savings is $65. $100 savings less the $35 paid in taxes. If it does the same in 2018, its after-tax benefit is $79. $100 in savings less than $21 paid in taxes. A retailer thus pockets $14 more from laying off a worker in 2018 than in 2017, a jump of more than 20%. Retail trade groups have, by and large, supported the legislation. The National Retail Federation called it a major victory that will jumpstart the economy, encourage companies to invest here in the United States, increase wages, and expand opportunities for employees. The National Grocers Association has commended it as a weight lifted off its shoulders that will allow stores to invest more in their companies, employees, and communities. To be sure, any company considering layoffs or buying new technology will weigh multiple and moving variables before doing so. The math itself is subject to changes. Manufacturing companies could simply charge retailers more. Retailers could charge their customers less, thereby dampening savings from automation. These considerations extend to industries beyond retail. But retailers are in a particularly perilous time. Rising minimum wages, changes in shopping behavior, and an omnipresent Amazon. They are fiercely trying to steady their cost structure, including by making stores smaller and more profitable. Anytime there's a change in a price of product, people's calculations about what they want to buy will change, said Goodman. And that is from CNBC. That's Lauren Hirsch. And yeah, I suspected that this would come up when they pass a tax bill giving these corporations more of a tax cut, that they would use that money to automate and thereby reducing labor, because the only way that you can bring more industry into the United States and compete with Asia and Latin America and parts of Africa and India is what? By automating. Because the difference between a good made in China, for lack of a better, for just as, for example, than the United States is not the machinery or the materials, it's the labor. And once you buy a machine, the labor is the same, no matter whether it's in China, whether it's in India, whether it's in Russia, Africa, wherever. It's the same once you mechanize. So the United States to compete, or United States corporations to compete without going outside of its borders or outsourcing the labor, is by mechanizing, which is something I had suspected right after Donald Trump was elected. You're cutting off trade agreements because you may or may not need them anymore. So you're going to pay these retailers, not retailers, but your corporations to bring back in jobs. But nobody ever said who's going to do the jobs, though. And I've consistently said that, yeah, let's say going back, hell, almost a year. Trump got in office. Almost a year. May you live in interesting times. And that's what 2018, in my estimation, is going to be. Raise of interest rates, cutting of taxes, the influx of way, way, way more automation than we've seen in quite some time. Because we got a long way to catch up to China. China's way ahead of us as far as automating, believe it or not. They have so many self-loading ports and self-driving ships, and they got everything that's that you would think of to automate is already there in China. We have yet to get out of the testing phase, because labor and labor unions and that kind of stuff will protest this and will make the people upset. Where in China, they just do it. In India, they just do it. It is what it is. Hold on to your hats, folks. The breadcrumbs are lining up. So I need all my Hansels and some of my Gretels to start following these breadcrumbs before the birds eat them. Because the breadcrumbs always lead you to the truth. That's how you become a pragmatist. That's how you become an analyst. And I know a lot of people are going to get on with their emotions and how they feel. But to be a good analyst, you have to compartmentalize. You have to be amoral and you have to be pragmatic, because what you're trying to see is the naked truth, no matter how good or bad it is, and you can't put a judgment on it. First, you have to figure out how good or bad it is and what it actually does. And then once you figure that out, once you figure out the truth, then you could put a judgment on the truth. Well, first thing you want to find out is the truth. I always say you can't comment on something until the breadcrumbs start lining up. The breadcrumbs are lining up. And now we're going to get a clearer picture of how Donald Trump is going to act going forward. So for you doers, movers, and shakers, tighten up your chin straps. Time to go to work. For you average workers out there, it's time to tighten your belt, because times are going to get real lean. And they're going to do this off the backs of the American people, because there's nobody else to steal from anymore. Can't do it from Latin America, can't do it from Africa, can't do it from Europe. The last people and the last resort is to take it from your own folks. It is what it is. Those are the times we live in. Well, with that, I'm going to jump off of here. This is short and sweet. My videos are getting shorter. I think my videos are getting shorter because the frame has already been set. I've already outlined the frame, and these are just pieces. So I don't have to keep outlining the same thing over and over again because the frame's already been set. The pieces are dropping in. The pieces are dropping in. It is what it is. You can either accept the truth or get hurt by it when it runs over you. But I'm going to jump off of here. This is BGS out.